You keep telling everyone your plans. Every time you get excited about something, the first thing you do is announce it. You post it online. You tell your friends. You call your family and describe every detail of what you are going to do. And then nothing happens. The excitement fades. The momentum dies. The goal quietly disappears, and nobody even notices because they stopped caring the moment you told them. You have been doing this your entire life, and you keep wondering why you never finish what you start. Let me tell you something that will change the way you operate if you actually listen. Silence is not weakness. Silence is the most powerful weapon you will ever carry, and almost nobody uses it. The strongest people you have ever admired did not announce their plans to the world before they began. They disappeared, they worked, they built, and when they finally emerged, the results did the talking. Not their words, not their promises, not their social media posts, their results. That is the difference between the person who talks about changing their life and the person who actually does it. One of them needs applause before they start. The other does not need applause at all. Today you learn how to become the second one. There are two kinds of builders in this world. The first kind talks about what they are going to build. They draw the blueprint. They describe every room. They invite people to admire the plans. And then they never lay a single brick. The second kind says nothing. They show up before sunrise. They pour the foundation when nobody is watching. And one day, people walk past a building that was not there before and ask who built it. The second builder does not answer. He is already working on the next one. Everything I am about to share with you comes from one principle. The person who speaks does not know. The person who knows does not speak. 2,500 years ago, a man wrote 81 passages and then walked away from civilization. He never promoted his work. He never sought fame. He never explained himself. That collection became one of the most translated texts in human history, second only to the Bible. His name was Lao Tzu. His book is the Tao Te Ching, and his central teaching on silence is this: those who know do not talk, and those who talk do not know. He also wrote that a full bottle is silent, while a half-full bottle sloshes. The wise person appears foolish. Those who truly know do not need to advertise. This is not ancient philosophy with no relevance today. This is the operating system of every person who has ever built something real. What follows are 6 principles of silent power that will change the way you move through the world. If you apply even one of them, your life will begin to shift. If you apply all 6, you will become someone that people cannot ignore. Principle 1. Stop announcing your goal. Every time you tell someone what you are going to do, your brain receives a small reward. It feels like you have already accomplished something. You have not accomplished anything. You have only talked about it, but your brain does not know the difference. The act of announcing creates a feeling of completion before the work has even begun. This is why people who constantly talk about their goals rarely achieve them. The talking becomes the achievement. Think about the last time you told someone about a new plan. Remember how good it felt to describe it? Remember the excitement in your voice? Now think about what happened in the days and weeks after that conversation. The energy dropped, the urgency faded. The plan became just another thing you mentioned once. A seed does not announce to the soil what it plans to become. It does not send a message to the sun saying, "I am going to be a tree someday. Please prepare." It goes underground. It sits in the dark. It does the invisible work of pushing roots downward where nobody can see. One time. And one day it breaks through the surface, and the world sees a tree that seems to have appeared from nowhere. But the tree did not appear from nowhere. It was built in silence. You must learn to operate the same way. When you get a new idea, do not tell anyone. When you set a new goal, write it down for yourself and keep it there. Let the idea stay private. Let it grow roots before you expose it to sunlight. Because here is what happens when you announce your goals to people who have not earned the right to hear them. Some of them will doubt you, and their doubt will become a voice in your head that competes with your own belief. Some of them will support you with empty words. They will say, "That sounds amazing," and then forget about it by dinner. And some of them, the most dangerous ones, will feel threatened by your ambition because it reminds them of what they are not doing with their own life. None of these responses help you build anything, but silence does. Silence protects the fragile first stages of every great thing you will ever create. When you work in silence, the only voice you hear is your own. The only standard you answer to is the one you set. There is no audience to perform for. There is no pressure to live up to what you promised. There is only the work. And the work, done quietly, done consistently, done without anyone watching, is the only thing that has ever produced real results. Starting today, make a decision. The next goal you set, tell no one. Write it on a piece of paper. Put it where only you can see it. Read it every morning. Work on it every day. And when someone asks you what you have been up to, say nothing special and change the subject. That is not lying. That is protecting something sacred. Because your dream, in its earliest form, is fragile. It is a seed, and seeds do not survive being ripped out of the ground so you can show people what they look like. Keep it underground. Let it grow roots. And when the tree finally stands, it will not need your explanation. It will provide its own shade. That is principle 1. Stop announcing, start building. Do it in silence. The results will speak louder than any announcement you could ever make. Principle 2. Kill the need for applause. This one will be uncomfortable because it attacks something that has been programmed into you since childhood. You were raised on gold stars. You were given trophies for showing up. You were taught that effort deserves recognition, and recognition is the proof that you are doing something worthwhile. That programming is destroying your potential. When you need applause to keep going, you have handed control of your life to other people. Their attention becomes your fuel. Their approval becomes your compass. And the moment they look away, you lose the will to continue. That is not strength. That is dependence. The greatest work in human history was done by people who did not care whether anyone was watching. Painters who completed masterpieces that hung in dark studios for decades before anyone saw them. Writers who filled notebooks they never intended to publish. Builders who constructed foundations that would not bear weight for years. These people did not need an audience to validate their effort. The effort was the validation. Ask yourself this honestly. If nobody ever saw the result, would you still do the work? If nobody clapped, would you still show up? If nobody posted a comment, liked your update, or told you they were proud of you, would you still wake up early and put in the hours? If the answer is no, then you are not building for yourself. You are performing for others, and performance without purpose always burns out. Here is how to break the cycle. Start doing things that nobody sees. Wake up early and work on your craft before the world is awake. Not because it makes you a better person, because it proves to yourself that you do not need witnesses. Clean your house without posting about it. Exercise without logging it. Study without telling anyone what you are reading. Practice building without an audience until the absence of applause feels normal, and then you will discover something powerful. You will discover that the work itself was always the reward. Not the like, not the comment, not the recognition. The act of creating something with your own hands, for your own reasons, in your own time. That is where real confidence comes from, not from being seen, from knowing that you showed up when nobody was looking. Lao Tzu said, do your work, then step back. That is the only path to serenity. Do your work, then step back. Do not linger for applause. Do not check for reactions. Do not measure your worth by how many people notice. Step back. Let the work sit there on its own. And if it is good, people will find it. If it is great, it will outlive you. But that is not your concern. Your concern is the work itself. When you stop needing applause, something shifts inside you that no amount of recognition could ever provide. You become free. Free from the opinions of people who do not matter. Free from the emotional roller coaster of being validated one day and ignored the next. Free to build what you actually want instead of what looks impressive to strangers on the internet. Kill the need for applause. The freedom on the other side is worth more than any standing ovation. That is principle 2. The greatest builders in history never asked permission to begin, and they never waited for applause to continue. You must learn to do the same. Principle 3. Cut the noise. You cannot build in silence if your life is full of noise, and your life right now is louder than it has ever been. Your phone buzzes 40 times before noon. You scroll through other people's highlight reels before your feet even touch the floor. You absorb opinions from people you have never met, arguments you have no stake in, and content designed specifically to keep you distracted. That noise is not harmless background static. It is sabotage. Every piece of noise that enters your mind takes up space, and the space it occupies is the exact same space where your best ideas, your deepest focus, and your most powerful decisions are supposed to live. You cannot think clearly in a room full of screaming, and your digital life has become exactly that, a room full of screaming. Lao Tzu wrote that colors blind the eye, sounds deafen the ear, flavors numb the taste, and desires wither the heart. He said this 2,500 years before the smartphone existed, and it has never been more true than it is right now. Your senses are overloaded, your attention is fractured, your ability to sit with a single thought long enough to develop it has been stolen from you. Not by force, by design. The apps, the notifications, the feeds, they are designed to keep you scrolling, not building. And every minute you spend consuming someone else's content is a minute you are not creating your own. Here is what cutting the noise looks like in practice. First, create a daily window of absolute silence, not meditation, not relaxation, silent. No phone, no screen, no music, no input of any kind. Start with 30 minutes. Sit with yourself. Let your mind wander without giving it anything to react to. This will feel unbearable at first. That discomfort is proof of how dependent you have become on external stimulation. But keep doing it day after day, and within a week, something will start to happen. Your own thoughts will become louder than the noise. Ideas you did not know you had will surface. Clarity you thought you lost will return. Because the clarity was never lost. It was buried under the noise. Second, audit the voices you allow into your life. Not every person who talks to you deserves access to your attention. Not every podcast, channel, or group chat is adding value. Some of the people closest to you are the loudest sources of noise. They gossip, they complain, they drag conversations toward problems without ever building solutions. You do not have to remove them from your life, but you must reduce the volume they occupy in your mind. Protect your mental environment the way you would protect your physical health. You would not eat poison and expect to feel strong. Do not consume mental poison and expect to think clearly. Third, stop reacting to everything. Not every news headline needs your attention. Not every social media argument needs your opinion. Not every crisis is your crisis. The person who reacts to everything controls nothing. The person who chooses what to respond to controls everything. Lao Tzu said it simply, "To a mind that is still, the whole universe surrenders." Sterling, your mind cannot be still if you fill it with noise. Cut the noise, reclaim the silence, and in that silence, you will find the space to build something real. Most people are so busy consuming that they never create anything worth consuming. Do not be most people. Choose silence. Choose stillness. Choose the uncomfortable, unimpressive, quiet act of sitting with your own thoughts until they become something worth building. That is Principle 3. Principle 4. Embrace being misunderstood. The moment you decide to build in silence, people will misunderstand you. They will think you are being antisocial. They will think you are hiding something. They will think you have changed, and not in a good way. Let them. Being misunderstood is not a bug of silent building. It is a feature. When people do not understand what you are doing, they cannot interfere with it. When they cannot see your progress, they cannot judge it. When they cannot measure your ambition, they cannot shrink it. The greatest protection your dream will ever have is the misunderstanding of others. Most people will never understand why you wake up at 5 in the morning when you do not have to. They will never understand why you stopped going out every weekend. They will never understand why you chose to spend your Friday night studying, reading, or working on a project that does not pay you yet. And that is fine. Their understanding is not required. You are not building for their approval. You are building for your future, and your future does not need their permission. Here is the hard truth about being misunderstood. Some people will pull away from you. Friends you have had for years will stop calling because you no longer fit into their routine. That will hurt. It is supposed to hurt. Growth always costs something, and often the price is the comfort of staying the same as everyone around you. But here is what they do not tell you about losing people along the way. The people who leave because you started building were never invested in your growth. They were invested in your company. There is a difference. A person invested in your growth celebrates when you level up, even if it means spending less time together. A person invested in your company resents the change because it disrupts their comfort. Let the second group go, without anger, without resentment, without explanation. Just let them go. And in the space they leave behind, you will find room for something better. Room for focus, room for depth, room for people who are building their own lives and understand why you are building yours. Lao Tzu wrote, "When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be." Letting go of how people see you is the cost of becoming who you are meant to be. Embrace it. Wear the misunderstanding like armor. Let people think what they want. Because one day, the results of your silent work will be so obvious that the same people who questioned you will ask you how you did it. And you will smile, because you will know something they never learned. You did it by disappearing into the work while they were busy watching. That is principle 4. Stop explaining yourself to people who are not on your level. Stop defending your choices to people who would never make them. The right people will understand you without an explanation. The wrong people will not understand you, no matter how many explanations you give. Save your breath. Use it to build. Principle 5. Protect your vision like your life depends on it, because it does. Your vision is the most valuable thing you own. More valuable than your time. More valuable than your money. More valuable than any relationship. Because your vision is the blueprint for the life you have not built yet. And if it gets destroyed, everything else becomes meaningless. Most people do not protect their vision. They leave it out in the open for anyone to touch, critique, and damage. They share their biggest dreams with people who have the smallest imagination. And then they wonder why the dreams stopped feeling possible. Your vision requires protection because it is fragile in its early stages. Think of it like fire. A match flame in the wind will die in seconds, but the same fire, protected and fed, can burn down a forest. Your dream right now is a match human. Your dream right now is a match flame. Your job is not to show it to the world. Your job is to cup your hands around it and keep it alive until it is strong enough to survive on its own. That means being intentional about who gets access to your inner world. Not everyone deserves to know what you are building. Not everyone has earned the right to offer their opinion on your future. Some people will hear your vision and immediately tell you why it will not work, not because they know better, because their own fear is speaking through them. When someone tells you your dream is unrealistic, what they are really saying is that they could never do it. They are projecting their ceiling onto your life. Do not let someone else's ceiling become your roof. Protect your vision by choosing carefully who you share it with. Share it only with people who have built something themselves, people who understand the process, people who know what it feels like to start from nothing and create something meaningful. These people will give you honest feedback without discouragement. They will challenge you without crushing you. They will push you without pulling you down. Everyone else gets silent, not because you are arrogant, because you are strategic. There is a difference between secrecy and privacy. Secrecy hides things out of shame. Privacy protects things out of wisdom. Your silence is not secrecy, it is privacy. It is the deliberate decision to give your dream the protected space it needs to grow. Here is a practical step. Create an inner circle of no more than 2 or 3 people, people who are ahead of you, or at least walking beside you. Share your vision only with them. Listen to their input, accept their honest feedback. And everyone else, your coworkers, your extended family, your social media followers, they see the results when the results are ready, not before. Lao Tzu said, "Fill your bowl to the brim and it will spill. Keep sharpening your knife and it will blunt." Oversharing your vision is like overfilling a bowl. The excess spills everywhere, and what is left is less than what you started with. Keep the bowl half full. Keep the vision protected. And when the time is right, serve from a position of strength, not desperation. That is principle 5. Guard your dream the way a soldier guards a gate. Not everyone who knocks deserves entry. And the ones who force their way in without invitation are exactly the ones who will do the most damage. Protect it or lose it. Those are the only 2 options. Principle 6, the final principle, and the most important one. Let your results speak. After all the silence, after all the protection, after all the invisible work you have done in the dark, there will come a moment when the results emerge. And in that moment, you will be tempted to explain everything, to tell the story of how hard it was, to describe every sacrifice, to demand the recognition you denied yourself for so long. Do not let the results stand on their own. Let people draw their own conclusions. Let the work speak without your commentary. Because here is the truth about results. They do not need a translator. A tree does not explain how it grew. It simply stands there, providing shade, producing fruit, offering shelter. The tree does not describe its roots. It does not recount the years it spent underground. It does not complain about the storms it survived. It just stands, and everyone who walks past it knows exactly what it is. Your results should work the same way. When you build something real, it speaks for itself. It does not need your help. And the silence that surrounded its creation becomes the most powerful part of the story. Because when people see the result and realize they never saw you working on it, they are forced to confront something uncomfortable. They are forced to realize that while they were talking, you were building. While they were announcing, you were executing. While they were waiting for permission, you were giving yourself permission and getting to work. That realization is worth more than any announcement you could ever make. And here is the final lesson, the one that separates people who build once from people who build forever. When the results arrive and the recognition comes, do not get attached to it. The applause is not the prize. The next project is the prize. The moment you finish one thing, begin the next one in silence again. Because the people who build great lives do not stop after one victory. They do not retire into the spotlight. They go back underground. They start again. They plant the next seed in the same quiet soil. And that cycle, build in silence, let results speak, go back underground and build again. That cycle is the engine of every meaningful life you have ever admired. Lao Tzu said, when your work is done, step back. That is the only path to serenity. Do your work, let it stand, step back, begin again. That is principle 6. That is the final piece. Now let me speak directly to you. I know why you found this. You are tired of talking. You are tired of plans that go nowhere. You are tired of the gap between who you are and who you know you could be. That gap exists because you have been building in public. And building in public means building for other people. Starting today, you close that gap by going underground. You do not need anyone's permission to begin. You do not need anyone's approval to continue. You do not need anyone's applause to know that you are on the right path. The right path is the one you walk alone, in the dark, with nothing but your purpose to light the way. Think of yourself as that seed. Right now, you are being planted. The soil is dark. Nobody can see you. Nobody knows what you are becoming. Good. The darkness is where the roots grow. The silence is where the strength builds. The aloneness is where the foundation gets laid. And when you finally break through the surface, and you will break through, do not explain yourself. Do not justify the time you spent underground. Do not apologize for the silence. Just stand. Let your roots hold you. Let your results announce you. Let the people who doubted you reconsider everything they thought they knew. From this day forward, make this your code. I build in silence. I move without announcement. I work without witnesses. I need no applause. I need no permission. I need no audience. When my results arrive, they will do the talking. I am the builder, and the world will hear me when I am ready. Now go build in silence and let your life make the noise. If this shifted something inside you, share it with one person who needs to hear it. Not for the algorithm, not for the channel. Because someone in your life right now is exhausted. They have been announcing plans that never happen. They have been performing for people who never notice. They have been loud because they thought silence meant they were falling behind. They do not need more noise. They need permission to disappear and build something real without explaining themselves. This might be that permission. Send it to them. And if you are that person, save this and come back to it when the noise gets too loud. Subscribe if you want more. I build these in silence too.